Good evening, Hawks fans, and welcome back to the Atlanta Sports District. I'm your host, Russell Spence, coming to you directly after a 128-97 defeat against the Miami Heat. Tonight was probably the worst I've seen us play in a few seasons. It was quite the awful performance team-wide. There were very few bright spots, if any, in tonight's game. We were bad offensively, we were bad defensively, we were bad on the glass, we were bad taking care of the ball. Pretty much anything that you can assume that a basketball team can do, that they can do well, we did not do well. Truly a pitiful performance. I understand it's on the back end of a back-to-back, and they have all of the rest advantage because it's their first game coming out of the All-Star break, but it does not matter. That team should never beat us at the level that they beat us tonight. It was not even remotely close to being a basketball game that was competitive for the majority of the night. I'm going to start with the thing that was most egregiously bad, which was the offense. The offense was truly pitiful tonight, and a lot of it stemmed from not being able to move the basketball with effectiveness. I'm just going to read off the stat. We had 26 assists and 12 total turnovers. That is way lower than our average assist number and is quite a high turnover number to have in a game. Now, when you look at the way that's broken down, it becomes even more frustrating because of those 26 total assists, 11 of them came from Jalen Johnson. If you take away Jalen Johnson's assisting ability, we only had 15 total assists in the basketball game. To me, that is more of a systemic failure than it is a player failure. We have set up the fact that we are a good passing team. We have not had Trae Young all year long, but we've been number one or number two in assists all year long. And so it's not that Trae, like in previous years when we've had our offense built around Trae Young and we've had a huge number of assists per game, you're like, well, Trae is kind of making this happen. That's not been the case this year. But what happened the last game, I mentioned it in the fourth quarter, we had a bunch of players, just no passes, not getting into actions, just I'm going to attack and try to score and not pass the ball at all, or if I do try to pass it, I'm going to turn it over. That has been a significant issue over the past few games. Even prior to the All-Star break, it had become an issue where the assist numbers were going down. And I think the problem is that CJ McCollum and players like him, I'm looking at like right now, like Nall, Corey Kispert, CJ McCollum, even a little bit of Dyson, they are not moving the ball with the success rate that they were prior to CJ getting here. I think that there is a systemic problem where everybody's looking and saying, well, CJ seems to be being very successful playing in the way that he's playing, where the numbers look good. He's scoring a lot of points. If you're scoreboard watching, he looks like he's playing well. But actually what is happening is he is taking the offense hostage. Well, tonight we had multiple players that were taking the offense hostage, and it was absolutely pitiful in terms of our output offensively. Defensively, it was not much better. We gave 128 points to one of the worst offensive teams in basketball. In fact, they are kind of built to be defensively oriented. They have a bunch of gritty, long defenders who, they start Davion Mitchell. Bam's not the greatest offensive player. Myron Gardner plays. Pelle Larsson, Jaime Jaquez. These are all players that are good offensive players, but they mostly make their money on being like two-way guys who can give you value on both ends. So giving up 128 points in regulation to a team that is not considered to be a great offensive basketball team is concerning. One of the things that is worrying me is that our lineups that are supposed to be good defensively are not good defensively. Right now, our starting lineup is consisted of Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Dyson Daniels, Zachary Richase, Jalen Johnson, and Onyeka Okongwu. And you look at that and you go, that should be a good defensive lineup. But right now, our power forward and center are both not playing very quality defense. In fact, I would say that Onyeka is playing fine-ish, kind of middling defense, and Jalen is playing truly pitiful, absolutely poor defense. And when you have that, you can have all the wonderful guard defense you want. If your center is terrible at defense, you're not going to have a good defensive roster. If your power forward, if your big men, your paint protectors are playing very poorly defensively, they're going to give up points on that lineup. And so that's what we've been seeing with these, runs that start of games where the other team jumps out to a big run. Well, we're not able to keep up because we're giving up points on every possession. And tonight we started cold, and so we got down big early. And then we made a comeback, big comeback, got back in the game. Did not matter because, again, we kept putting that lineup out there as it's our starting lineup. But when you have two guys that are supposed to be protecting the paint that are not protecting the paint, their whole job on the defense is to organize and protect the paint, and they cannot seem to do that, you're going to have really negative output when that's the case. And that's worrisome because we seem locked into that duo as our 4 and 5 for at least the foreseeable future. Again, I've said many times on this podcast, I think Onyeka is a great player. I really do. But I think that what you could get for him in trade is more valuable than he actually is right now. I think that he is got inflated value because he's on a very reasonable contract. In fact, kind of an absolute steal bargain of a contract. And he has shot the ball exorbitantly well from 3 this year, which makes him look extremely valuable. But is he actually that valuable? I think you can get multiple very good picks for Onyeka, and I don't think he's worth multiple very good picks. And so that's the reason why I would look to move him in the offseason. It's nothing against Onyeka. It's mainly the fact that because we have done such a good job at getting him on such a small deal, we can get a lot for him. And I would be looking to do that. Quite honestly, like I said, just a pitiful team-wide performance. You look at the, plus-minus numbers, they're all ugly. And we're going to get into the player-by-player, but, no one played well by anyone's standards. Just a truly, tremendously terrible loss. We got hounded, we got blown out, and you got to pick your bootstraps up and, move on. So, moving to the player-by-player section, had a interesting dilemma here. Usually I celebrate when we get to have Keaton Wallace come in the game. Tonight, not so much. He played 3 minutes. He did have 2 points, a rebound, and assist. Technically finished -6, but the game was already well over by then. Not much to say about that. Mo Gay played 13 minutes. He had no points on no shots. He had a rebound. He did record a steal and played overall fine defense, but as we're going to get into, the defense around him was laughably bad. And so what is Mo supposed to do? You give up a completely and totally just like, here you go, Tyler Hero, go straight to the rim. Nobody's going to even look at you on the perimeter. Just drive straight to the rim. It's fine. That Kispert did that. CJ McCollum did that. And then he's also having to make up for like Jacques Landale can't guard Khalil Ware, and then they put in Bam, and now Jacques Landale's on Bam, and Bam is just making him look horrible. It was really, really bad second unit wise defensively, and no matter how well Mo Gay played defensively tonight, it was not going to make up for it. The offense was not good. He did not move the ball well tonight. I'm not, absolving Mo from the -17 that he posted, but I do think a lot of it has to do with that really just awful defensive lineup that we keep putting out there. And again, it's like, Mo, save us, please. We think you can. And it's like, he shouldn't have to. That's the kind of thing you don't put your players in that position. And we do every night. It doesn't make any sense to me. Moving on, we're going to talk about Jock Landale. So Jock played 19 minutes. He had 3 points on 1 of 7 shooting, 0 of 4 from 3, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, and finished minus 20. Was awful defensively, awful from the field. Truly a just awful game from Jock Landale. And I'm not saying that he's that player. I think, as I've said, he is very, very good for a third center, and he is fine for a second center. Kel'el Ware made him look awful all night long, and so I am hoping that we are able to find a way to mitigate if there is a very talented second center on a team. How do we make sure that guy does not destroy Landale in his minutes? Tonight we did not navigate that very well, and they again destroyed us in his minutes. And so I would be looking to make a plan where it's like, okay, how can we have 2 guys who can help Landale on the floor when Landale's on the floor? Like having Mo at the 4 and having Jalen at the 3. That would have 2 guys who can help with the rebounding load and the defensive load that maybe Jock is not very good at. That, to me, seems like a much better option than throwing CJ and Kispert out there and wondering why we cannot stop people. Or even putting Zach out there at the 3. Zach is very good defensively and is able to help a lot in a lot of ways. He would be able to dig down. He would be able to secondary protect the rim. He would be able to help in the rebounding aspect. Why is it that we refuse to play Zach with Landale when Landale comes off the bench? We seem to be glued into, we are going to play this extraordinarily bench-heavy lineup with 4 bench players at the same time, and it's not working because 3 of those bench players are horrid defenders. So let's talk about the next one. Corey Kispert played 24 minutes. He had 6 points on 2 of 5 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3. He had 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and finished minus 14. Overall, played pretty okay offensively, all things considered. But the defense from Corey tonight was absolutely atrocious. I mean, multiple times where I'm screaming at my TV because he just got blown by with no effort to stop the guy he was supposed to be guarding, or he's completely and totally lost, has no idea where he's supposed to be. You have been in the NBA for a long enough period of time. There should not be a single moment where you don't know where to be. That kind of defensive technique problems, knowledge problems, it's not a physical ability thing from Corey. That's what makes me most mad, is he is big enough and strong enough and fast enough to get to the spots he needs to be at. And when he does, he actually plays pretty okay on the defensive end, but then sometimes his technique gets him. I mean, there was a couple of times where Tyler Hero snatched back on him or pulled back on him, and he had absolutely no way. For his technique was so bad, he just his head's over his toes, he's falling forward, and Tyler Hero's making a jump shot. Or he's, getting absolutely straight up blown by, and they're just giving up a wide open layup with no resistance. Horrid defense from Corey tonight. And I keep saying, I like Corey, but it does seem like at the end of the year, we're going to have to attach some picks to him to get him off the roster because he does not match the identity of what we do, which is defend at a championship level. When we win, it's because we defended at a championship level. And when we lose, it's because we did not. Now, moving on to CJ McCollum. So CJ played 27 minutes. He had 20 points on 8 of 16 shooting, 4 of 8 from 3, 2 rebounds, and an assist, but did have 3 turnovers with only 1 assist. Horrid turnover to assist ratio. But shot the ball extremely well and, quote unquote, kept us in the game at times, except for one problem. He was minus 19. So you look at it and you go, what actually happened was he had all this amazing offensive output and his defense was so laughably bad, we lost by that much in his minutes. His defense in this game was like if you're on like the fifth game in a row where your team has won during pickup and you can't even like bend over and touch your knees, you're just going to collapse because you can't breathe anymore. That is what it looked like CJ McCollum was doing trying to defend Tyler Hero. He was so slow footed, he couldn't even bend over and get into a stance. He looked like an old man trying to guard a player who's a good player. And that good player took him out back and beat him like a mule over and over and over and over again. When you have a player that's playing that bad defensively, you cannot afford to play them. And we just kept sticking him out there and sticking him out there and sticking him out there and wondering why we were giving up 130 points to one of the worst offenses in basketball. We can't continue to play like this. And we will continue to play like this because the coaching staff has proven they are not going to change. And so that tells me this coaching staff is going to get fired because the product on the court is not matching up with what needs to happen, and it is making us lose games. You need to be willing to not look at the contract of a player and look at the merit of a player. If a player is making a lot of money but not giving the team a great option, that player needs to not be playing, because tonight CJ was truly pitiful defensively and still turned the ball over, led into a lot of the problems we were having on the offensive end, not moving the ball in the way that he should, only had one assist as the primary ball handler for all of his minutes. He's not helping. I know he's scoring, but he's not helping. There's a big difference. Now, moving to the starters. Zachary Chaussee had a rough game offensively. He played 23 minutes. He scored 4 points on 1 of 8 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3. He had 4 rebounds and overall was minus 12, one of the better plus minuses on the whole team. He actually played very well defensively and rebounded and helped a lot in those regards, but the offense was not very good tonight, I won't lie. He did have a couple of times where I thought, like, he drove, got all the way to the rim, is going up, gets hacked, gets thrown into the banister at one point. Nothing is called, of course, because we never get anything called. Even though we're in our home arena, we don't get anything called. And it was just, like, a couple of times where I think that hindered his confidence at the beginning of the game, and then he did not play confident for the rest of the game, and the offense looked bad. But again, I don't think he was to blame at all. I think that the defense from him was actually quite a good output. He rebounded the ball well. He could have given more offensively, but that is by far and away the least of our worries from tonight's game. Moving on, we're going to talk about Dyson Daniels. So Dyson played 29 minutes. He had 4 points on 2 of 7 shooting, 0 of 1 from 3. He had 7 rebounds, 3 assists with 2 turnovers, and finished the game minus 17. He did have 2 steals, played well defensively, but Hero had already gotten on his heater because he was playing against McCollum and Kispert in the second unit, and he torched them. The offense was really, really, really bad tonight from Dyson. He hindered a lot of what we were trying to do. The ball did not move well. He turned it over a lot. The shot is really bad and hurts the spacing. It was pretty rough from Dyson offensively tonight, to the point where even like Bob and Neek on the broadcast were saying, like, you have to be able to shoot. You have to punish these players for guarding you this way. You have to find something that you can do that can punish this coverage, because they're just sticking a dude 15, 20 feet off of him and clogging up everything else, knowing he cannot shoot it. Please get in the gym. Please work on your jump shot. I don't know what else I have to say, what else anybody else in the media has to say. I mean, it's been a joke for years that Dyson can't shoot. So figure it out, man. You're better than that. You obviously work hard. Figure it out. Moving on, we're going to talk about Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So Nall played 37 minutes. He had 20 points on 8 of 18 shooting, 4 of 9 from 3, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 turnovers. So really, really, really inefficient in every way. Shooting inefficiency, turnover to assist ratio inefficiency, didn't move the ball well. The offense was bad from Nall tonight. And the defense was honestly not much better. And then that results in him having a game worse plus minus of minus 25. The shooting is a little bit concerning right now because it's been bad for weeks. We need to, I don't know if we just need to have better shoot-arounds or what it is, But a lot of our players seem to be regressing with their shot from earlier in the season. Jalen's not shooting the same percentage he was. Naw's not shooting the same percentage he was. Dyson can't hit a shot to save his life. Zach has been struggling with his shot. We got to figure out what's going on, and it's got to fix itself because right now it's really, really, really rough. And tonight from Naw was just a truly like game to forget. He played really, really bad. I know he scored 20 points. Points do not run the world. If you score 20 points in 18 shots, you did not have a good game. I don't care. I mean, it's like the Kobe 60-point game where when he ended his career, where he just shot the ball like 40-something times. And it's like, yeah, that's not the same thing as a normal 60-point game. Like, you just wanted to go out with a 60-point game. Well, Null had a game where, yeah, you scored 20, but it's not a normal 20. You had 18 shots. You had a bunch of kind of hostage possession takeover type things. You got to figure it out, dude. Next, we'll talk about Onyeka. So Onyeka played 29 minutes. He had 22 points on 8 of 12 shooting, 4 of 5 from 3, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Very, very good output offensively. He had a steal and 2 blocks. Finished minus 11. He honestly was not the biggest problem on the team, but it was a problem, him guarding Bam, and just the overall guarding of the rim that happened tonight left a lot to be desired. There's all the things you can say about his height. A lot of people, there's a lot that has been made of it. I'm not really one who says that you have to have some 7-foot center, but if you don't have a 7-foot center, that guy who's not 7 foot has to be elite at what he does to protect the paint. And right now, Onyeka is not playing an elite level defensively, and he does not give you enough offensively to make up for it. He had a great offensive night tonight, but it was still very rough in his minutes. Honestly, it was rough for everybody. So, I mean, he's not alone in that. And lastly, we're going to talk about Jalen. So Jalen played 35 minutes. He had 16 points on 6 of 22 shooting, 2 of 5 from 3. He had 16 rebounds, 11 assists with 3 turnovers. Pretty good assist to turnover ratio, but no steals, no blocks. Didn't really affect the box score in that way. Finished minus 14. A lot of the misses, I will say, I thought were fouls. I thought he got fouled a lot and did not get credit for it, but the efficiency was really, really awful. And I wonder how much of that is the spacing was really bad because of the way they were playing Dyson. I hope that this is not like a blueprint of how to stop Jalen, because, I mean, every team can just fall off with whoever's guarding Dyson. Then if Jalen attacks, that guy collapses and then just gives up the open 3 to Dyson. If you wanted to do that, you could do that on every play. I really hope teams don't pick up on that, because it would be really hindering to our offensive output. Overall, I thought Jalen played very well on the boards. I thought that Jalen was a very good passer tonight, moved the ball very well, but the efficiency was so bad, and the defense has been a problem all year long. We need him to lock in defensively, and I think a lot of that stems from right now he is playing in a bunch of lineups where he is asked to do a lot of the defensive workload when he is also having to do a lot of the offensive workload. Give him lineups where he has to do less defensively, please and thank you. So, moving forward, the Atlanta Hawks play the Brooklyn Nets on Sunday. It's an afternoon matinee start, so don't be surprised. It's in the middle of the day, and the Nets, quite honestly, have been very, very bad. They're 15-39 as of recording this podcast. They are pitiful. So please, let's right the ship. Let's get a win there. Let's try to, set the path in the right way. Continue to lean into the defense, but figure out how to get these lineups that have all these bad defenders. The 3 bad defenders that are playing right now, like straight up really bad defenders, should not hit the floor at the same time. All of them should not hit the floor at the same. You can avoid it, I promise. I've done some mock-ups of how the rotation could go where you don't have to play those guys ever. Please figure out how to do it, because it's not that hard, and it makes it so much harder to win when we have such poor defensive output. I mean, tonight, with as bad as the offense was, if we had held them to in the 100 range, like we could have, the game is very close, and then anything can happen at the end. So let's continue to learn how to lean into the defense, put defensive lineups on the floor. Don't put those bad defensive lineups on the floor, and I think that will lead to longer term success for our Atlanta Hawks. So please like, comment, and subscribe here on the podcast. Hit me up on all the socials. Any questions you have, any things, any takes you have about what's going on with the Hawks. I've got Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, Reddit, all the stuff. So anywhere you think you can find information about the Hawks, I am probably there. Like I said, hit me up with any of your questions. I hope that we can, right this ship as we go on to the rest of this month and this week. But above everything else, I hope you have a great day.